Once upon a time, in a solar system far away from the settled systems, there was a planet known as Volley Alpha that was entirely encased in ocean's blue, brimming with xeno-aquatic life. Xenofresh Fisheries apparently saw great promise in this natural resource and invested in a state-of-the-art fishing platform to be deployed upon the planet's turbulent surface. This fishy gamble would pay off with the discovery of the chasm bass, a spiky, quite possibly delicious aquatic predator that also just happened to produce a yummy and incredibly addictive hallucinogenic chemical that was allegedly deemed safe for human consumption by the space FDA. Though the fun-hating United Colonies quickly banned the drug within their territory in order to help provide justification for that smuggling mechanic, but also perhaps because it was instantaneously addicting. It was thus that space skooma was born, or rather Aurora by Starfield's vernacular. Sensing the opportunity before him, then and current Xenofresh CEO Benjamin Bayo quickly moved to monopolize the manufacture and sale of Aurora throughout the universe, making the Astral Lounge the only legal retailer and skooma den for Aurora. From there, the Aurora flowed freely, allowing the guests of the Astral Lounge to somehow enjoy the quite frankly freaky tentacle bodysuit thing that the club's dancers had going on. Soon, tourists and drug addicts alike flocked to the backwater Foley system to get themselves a taste for the Aurora life, transforming the humble fishing platform into the pleasure city of Neon. Finally, in the year 2189, the system of Volley joined the Freestar Collective, solidifying the defense structure for the universe's newest city-state. That, my friends, is the story of how a humble fishing company evolved into a nation-state, and a critical component of the Freestar Collective bureaucratic machine. But that is only part of the story. You see, along the way, Xenofresh became a far more complicated, far darker organization than that of a simple corporate overlord. Oh no, Xenofresh Fisheries became a dystopian drug cartel controlling their employees and the general populace of Neon with Aurora. Although Aurora is most certainly a pleasurable ride, targeting the serotonin neurotransmitter in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, causing intense auditory and visual hallucinations that can create a sense of euphoria and even the perception of slowing time. But the true power of Aurora is in its addictive nature. Old Benny Boy was fully cognizant of this fact and built the city of Neon to not only be a pleasure city, but also an insidious trap. Each fly that flew into the maw of Neon's flashy lights and experienced the pleasure that she had to offer had a significant chance to never be able to leave, their addiction to the space skooma holding them in a prison of their own mind, first exhausting them of all their credits as they pursued their next and next and next fix, and then selling themselves to the corporations of Neon for below market rates just to get their next hit. Heck, some of the denizens of Neon are even paid in Aurora rather than credits, just like that stupid gum commercial. Once ensnared in this trap, you have less than 2 years to escape, lest you become permanently addicted with no hope of ever becoming clean. At that point, no detox regime in the universe can save you. Oh no, no matter how many steps there are in the program, it will not be enough. You've got a real Hotel California situation here, no doubt, just with a sickening corporate twist. You love to see it. This might lead you, as a rational and compassionate human being, to ask yourself, if this is the case, why does the great Freestar Collective allow Benjamin and Neon to operate in this way? Well, this is simple. Although the word free is in Freestar Collective, they are no more free than their counterparts in the United Colonies. No. They are just as controlled but by a different master, the council, the governing body that Benjamin just happens to have a seat on owing to his fortunes, along with the other wealthy CEOs and technocrats of the collective. These other CEOs and technocrats also serve to profit from Benny's antics, you see, with their branches located on Neon being just as able to take advantage of the addicted masses, making it all too easy for them to turn a blind eye to the pit of despair that is the city of Neon. There is more to the story of Xenofresh, though, than just its overall strategy of greed and evil. There is the story of the cogs that are stuck in its machine, the everyday folk like you and me that keep the profits churning. These men and women have to work in the, I hesitate to call them restaurants, but I will nonetheless, that serve the trawl, the discarded chasm bass parts that aren't used in Aurora production, that are then ground into a paste, the eyes, the bones, the gills, everything, and then laced with alginate, a common ingredient found in jellies, to hold the paste together and feed the ignorant masses. Or they have to work in the Aurora assembly line, their every action reviewed, graded, and deducted from their already meager pay. Or worse of all, being an actual fisherman at Xenofresh. I mean, have you seen their supposed fishing vessel? The fishing trawler is a small twin-screw vessel featuring a rather sporty mucus green and white paint job that allegedly has the task of catching chasm bass. She appears to be equipped with radar located above the pilot house for tracking fish populations, I'd imagine. And strangely, the pilot house does not seem to feature a conventional viewport. Instead, its ports are emblazoned with strange patterns of what I assume to be technology of some nature. She is also a relatively narrow vessel, seemingly only being about 3 large chasm bass in width, and perhaps 2 large chasm bass in length. These dimensions alone would have me filling out my letter of resignation and looking for better opportunities of employment, as it is incredibly hard for me to imagine attempting to wrangle in a chasm bass on this vessel. I mean, look at the chasm bass. It is covered in thick scales and dorsal spikes and features a mace, like a literal mace for a chin. Not the sort of predator I'd want to tangle with on a vehicle that is scarcely larger than its prey. And that's assuming that the chasm bass is the alpha predator of the seas of Oli Alpha. If the chasm bass is not, then heaven help those poor souls. Perhaps that's part of the reason why Xenofresh Fisheries is hurting for employees so bad, as their fishing crews are being regularly pulled into the deep by the space kraken. But who knows? But then you just think of the purely practical matters of going on to an ocean planet's turbulent seas on such a tiny vessel. That by itself seems like a suicide mission. Or, lest you actually catch the fish, where do you put them? And I've been told that those fish smell incredibly terrible, so just the fact you can't even escape the smell would have me quitting on the spot. So I have nothing but respect for those fishermen that brave that task to feed their families. But then we get to the true cost of Aurora, and that's on the chasm bass population itself. With the Aurora production quotas ever increasing, the chasm bass population must also be decreasing at an alarming rate. No system is infinite, and after decades of hunting the chasm bass, one would imagine that they must be rapidly approaching extinction. This could perhaps be even evidenced by the lack of bass found anywhere else on the planet other than just below the platform. A tragic tale, indeed, and an all too common outcome of human greed. In this case, however, as terrible as it is to say, perhaps the extinction of the chasm bass would be for the best, finally ending this vicious cycle of addiction and servitude that has been spread by Aurora. But by then, how many lives will have been destroyed by the Xenofresh fisheries? Only time will tell.